We're at the Circa in Las Vegas for day 2 of MWC Media Days 2025.
Day 1 were the players. Day 2 are the coaches. We also get to interview Gloria Navarro as commissioner of the Mountain West. So here's another interview.
Do you have any thoughts on the possibility of not playing Wyoming for a 2-year gap there?
Yeah, well, I know this. We've had a lot of conversations about that, and I know that's a rivalry we want to continue to play. There's such great tradition. Obviously, the proximity so close,
Right.
and there's been so many great games over the years. In the region, it means so much to the people in the region. So we would love to continue to play that game in the future, and I hope we're able to work it out. I think we have got it worked out for the next few years. So hopefully we can continue that on the schedule.
Are the stakes almost? Do you feel like the stakes are higher in this year's Board Award, just with the last conference game that's going to be, and then obviously you might not play again until 28.
I just think that this is a special year. I mean, I've been in this league for 9 years. I was sitting there thinking this morning about that, and all the great coaches, Rocky Long and Coach Bull and Coach Tedford, all the guys and the great games that we've had. It's a special year, when you think about the last year, the Mountain West, as far as for us is concerned. And it's special. And I think the commissioner said it best when she said, "Stay in the moment." And I think that's important for all of us to stay in the moment and just play this year. Colorado State won the first Mountain West championship, and we want to have an opportunity to do it again. Yeah. We've been pushing this program to get in that position, and we're excited to have this opportunity to play this last year.
In regards to that, the last time that Colorado State won, had a winning season was 2017 or 76. Going on your fourth year at the helm, 49 and 47 record-wise, 3-9 your first year, 5-7 your second year, third year 8-5. Where has been the improvement, and how have you liked the growth and the development?
Yeah, that's a interesting question. The last 3 years have been probably the most tumultuous in college football history. The NIL, the transfer portal, all the different things that have happened. I look back, there's a lot of Nevada people here that I've seen. Our fourth year at Nevada, we were absolutely loaded. And we had NFL receivers running all over the place. Since I've been at Fort Collins, we've had 8 starting receivers leave our program through NIL and transfer portal. And so it's just very difficult to build when every year people pluck your best players off your roster, especially guys that can run, And we have a reputation of recruiting great receivers, and people know that. And so every year we've had 2 starting receivers leave our program. It's hard to replace that every year. And so we've been able to keep Braden. And I think we're starting to figure out our niche in the transfer portal better. We signed 29 players this year. 20 of the 29 were starters at their old schools. And so we're trying to add experience. We put a high premium on playing time and snaps. So when we bring a guy, we just don't want to bring a guy from a Power 4 program because they recruited him. We want a guy that's played and started and been productive in college when we bring him. And so that's been successful for us. I think we're finding our way. And, teams like Boise, teams like us, teams like Fresno, we're all kind of in a similar place, rev share wise. And, the Big 12 is here and the SEC is here. And that's the way of the world right now. But we've got to keep pushing to get relevant. And we've made a lot of progress in 3 years. We've improved. Our offensive line was a disaster our first year we were there. I walked around our old line room and all the kids were this tall on me. And you just can't win. You have no chance to win if you can't block people. Our offensive line is one of our strongest positions now. We have an NFL model of height and length, and we can line up and play against anybody. I think the defensive talent we have is the best I've ever had as a head coach. We're more physical. We have more playmakers. We can run and cover. We have better scheme. And so I'm excited about that. We got a quarterback that's played 3 years. You got to remember, we've invested in a freshman quarterback. So we've been playing the last 3 years with a freshman quarterback. First year he's a freshman, then he's a sophomore. Now he's junior. And this is the payoff. We got a couple years with this guy who's probably the most experienced quarterback in the league. So this is where the payoff's got to come. And so, we had the highest attendance in school history last year. We had 4 sellouts. We had the highest attended game in the history of the school. Most student sales tickets in the history of the school. And so Canvas is starting to become the place it was envisioned to be. Great stadium, great facility. They had a losing record at Canvas when we took over. We've been 10-3 the last 2 years. So we're doing the things we need to do to get the program where it needs to be. And we want to keep climbing. We want to be a nationally recognized program. And we got an opportunity to take another step next year going to the Pac-12. But it can't end there. We have to keep pushing. I think in about 3 years, there's going to be 64 teams that are all full rev share that are playing for the national championship. And everybody else is going to be playing a different game. We have to push to get into that mix. If we don't, we're going to get left behind. We're not going to be playing the same game that the other Division I schools are playing.
Jay, you talked about the challenges of retaining players. It's hard to have continuity, but you obviously had a vision for this program when you came over. How close do you feel like you are in terms of getting the program to, or are you there?
No, I think we're getting there. Our goal is to always compete for a championship every year. And some years you're going to have more experience. But once you get to a point where you can recruit your players and the type of guys that are in your image, and those are guys that are athletic, tough, and have great character, you should be competitive every year. And you should have a chance to win a championship every year. And I was there my last 2 years at Nevada. I think we were there last year. If we beat Fresno week 11, we're playing Boise for the championship. And so, and we really wanted to play them. We felt like we had a kind of team that matched up well against them. And so that's where we are. We have to still recruit better players. When you look at the Big 12 teams and you look at the Big 10 teams, we don't have comparable players yet. And we're in an era where the investment that your school makes directly affects the quality of the player you can recruit. That's just the way it is. And so we're pushing that envelope as far as we can. And but we're very excited about the progress we've made. We've had the three highest GPAs in school history for football. I talked about the attendance that we've had. We want to continue to recruit NFL players. And that's something that we'll continue to push for and develop.
You've talked a lot about, loving life in Fort Collins, wanting to be here, wanting to build it up. You're going into year 4, don't have that extension yet. Have you guys had talks? Got kind of a unique deal, you don't have a buyout after this year. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, it is true. I've got a year and a half left on my contract. We're starting year 4. I had conversations with our athletic director and administration about it. It is also true, December 2nd, I do have no buyout from CSU, which means I'm basically a free agent. I can go coach anywhere. And so we do love it at CSU. I've talked to our administration. I do not want that to be a distraction for this team. I've got a motto for this season. It's we over me. And I really believe that. And in all ways, coaches, administration, we have to be together, and everybody's individual um, goals and desires have to be secondary. And so we've poured our heart and soul out into building this program. It's been very difficult the last 3 years. What we have to do in this era with the transfer portal, it's very difficult when you recruit kids that you absolutely love and you build them up and you give them an opportunity to play college football and they leave your program. That's hard. And we've had a lot do that. And so we're very focused on that. We are not going to allow any kind of distraction during the season. I don't believe that. And so whether it's my contract or anything else, I'm not going to let that be a distraction for this football team. We got a great opportunity, and we're going to pour everything we can into helping this team be the very best it can be.
Do you feel like you and admin are on the same page in terms of your vision and how to execute it?
I don't know. I mean, you would have to ask them that question. I just know this. I've had conversations that I don't want it to be a distraction. I don't want, once the season starts, I'm all ball. And that's the way my focus is going to be. And so, I mean, you would have to ask them that question. But I'm very comfortable about our staff, what we've accomplished, and the type of quality people we have on our coaching staff and on our team. And that's about all I'm going to say about it.
Coach, you brought up the transfer portal and the challenges of losing some players in the transfer portal. What's your opinion on how it should be structured? Would you like to see just one transfer window, and if so, when would be the best? When do you think is the best time?
So just to kind of clarify for everybody, and the AFC representative for the Mountain West, and so I meet with Craig Bowl on these national issues. There is so many issues in college football that we have to address, and I mean you have this house deal that's just got passed. We're trying to get one portal. We're as college football, we became a 2-semester sport last year. We start in August, and we didn't have the national championship to almost February last year. So it's very difficult in 2 semesters to have people transfer and still be on the same team. That we have agents. We have this whole thing with transparency. We have these new rev share rules where everybody's supposed to know what everybody makes. Okay, but also you still have collectives, and you still have people that are making money that are still giving money to athletes. So there are people that are going to be over 20.5 million, and so how does that equate? So we've got to make it transparent. We got to see what people are doing at other schools to really have an opportunity. And there are some things that have improved because of the House settlement. It will be interesting to see how transparent things become. But from our perspective, we have got to keep fighting to be relevant, and to play with the top schools in the country. And a lot of that has to do with your finances and how you can keep pace financially.
You guys have brought in quite a few new players. Obviously, lost some guys to the portal in December, brought a lot in before the spring, brought in a lot after. You guys invested a lot in terms of your personnel staff over the winter. Has that been a relief for you of having more resources at your disposal?
Yes, and I think it's given us an opportunity to have a chance. To be honest with you, if you recruit and don't replace, your roster goes like this every year. And that's where we were going until we got some more revenue. And now you may lose some players, but you got a chance to replace the experience. And that's what we were able to do this year. I think us and Washington State were the only 2 teams that actually gained playing experience and reps from the players that they brought into the portal. And so, and that was intentional. We lost a lot of experienced players, the Jack Howells, the Henry Blackburns, But we also brought in guys that were starters at other schools that had that same type of experience. Now they're going to use that at Colorado State. So it gives you a fighting chance, and we still need to retain our best players. You know, when we bring a guy in like a Caleb Goody, it's hard to replace that speed, and everybody knows it. I mean, it doesn't take Einstein to figure out that guy's really fast and he can run, and so he's valuable to other programs. And they came in and gave him $740,000 to go to Cincinnati, and so we still have to be able to retain those type of players to really have elite talent in our program.
Coach, you talked earlier about Braden Fowler Nicolosi coming in as a freshman. Now he's a junior. You just talked about what you've seen from him in terms of his, mental growth, with his maturity and leadership.
Yeah. So, the other part, Justin, we played a freshman quarterback the last couple of years, so we knew we were going to struggle. We knew we were going to have growing pains with Braden. He's a fearless kid. He's a talented kid. And he showed some immaturity his first year. Last year, he was much better. He cut his turnovers almost in half. And now it's the payoff. The reason you play a freshman quarterback is because someday he's going to be a sophomore. That's the only reason. And you hope he gains experience from playing. And now he's a junior, he's got a chance to break all the school records. He's in striking distance of the yards and touchdowns. The most important record, though, is wins. And Bradley Van Pelt had 23. Moses Moreno had 21. Braden's at 14. And he can reach that. He needs 9 to tie and 10 to be the all-time winningest quarterback in Colorado State history. And I sat him down a couple days ago, and I said, Braden, that's the most important goal you need to have, is be the winningest quarterback in Colorado State history. Do what it takes to win, to help your team win. That's what his job is now. He's not only the leader of the quarterbacks, he's not only the leader of the offense, he's the leader of the team. And that's a different responsibility and a different duty, and that's where I've seen him grow the most.
And not only that, but you sat here last year and talked about the offers he had from different teams. Mm-hmm. The fact that he spurned those and stayed as a leader, what does that do for culture when people can point to that? I
think it sends a real message. There are more qualities that you have to have in your program besides just money, right? You just can't pay kids to stay. They got to like the campus. They got to like the facilities. They got to like the way that they're treated by the staff. All that matters. How you feed them, what type of weight room you have, what kind of strength program. So all of those things I think Braden loves. I think he loves Colorado State. I think he loves playing here. The money's just part of that. But when he made a statement to stay, it sends a message to the other guys. When Torrey Horton makes a statement to stay, I mean, Torrey could have went anywhere. He could have went to Ole Miss or Baylor. He could have went to a lot of schools. And he decided to stay because he wanted to play for us. And he wanted to play at Colorado State. And that's so important. So I think it's rare, especially for a school of our size, for us to keep the same quarterback. Is rare, and I think it'll be amazing if he can finish his career here. I hope he can, and so because he's going to walk out of here with a lot of the records if he does.
Last thing on that, with your football mind, to have a quarterback who's been there for so long, were you able to kind of tap into things?
Yes, yes. It's when you have guys like Torrey Horton, Carson Strong. I got 4 former players coaching for me now, but the most fun in the world is having a guy like Carson Strong who loves the game, who knows your offense inside and out, that can do anything. You can call anything, and you can be as creative as you want when you have guys like that, and you trust them. We're not like a lot of people in football. I mean, we give our quarterback a lot of freedom, and I learned that when I was with Tom Moore and when I was with the Indianapolis Colts. We used to do that with Peyton. We gave Peyton a lot of freedom, but he had to earn that with experience and the way he prepared. And so, so excited about Braden now being in year 3, all the football that he's learned, all the defenses that he's seen, all the places that he's played. it's going to serve him well. It's going to serve us well. I think we got a really good combination. I think we got the most athletic defense we've ever had, and I think we got a veteran quarterback and good skill on offense. So it's going to be fun.
It's been another great day at Mountain West Media Days 2025. So many great interviews, so many people to talk to, so much great content for the channel. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, make sure you like this episode, subscribe if you like our content. We have a lot more Mountain West content coming. With that, we'll see you next time on the Big Mountain.